Let me pull up this story from Yahoo News. Hillary Clinton promotes but her emails merch after FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago.
Seriously?
Yeah, this is tough.
So her fundraiser pitch is, I did something way worse, got away with it, and now you're going to give me money.
Oh my god.
The day after his
Girl
house got
boss.
raided.
Literally
Oh my
12
gosh,
hours.
what is happening?
Drops merch.
And she has that Photoshop picture of her looking like a younger picture of her with her huge,
With her
all
hat.
that work done on those cheekbones. Like, with
Hey,
that-
look. I don't care about the merch stuff. Trump has dropped targeted merch. He's also made fun of Democrats in a similar way. We really are seeing the left try to learn from how the right did meme warfare with like the dark Brandon
Trying.
meme.
They're really trying.
Do you see this? They made a Nazi meme of Joe Biden, and then they unironically posted it. And people were like, what are you doing? Like, that was made to make fun of Joe Biden. Why are you posting
Do you
that?
have that image available? Nazi meme
Pull
Biden?
up Dark Brandon Rises, and then go to images.
Wasn't there a thought that this was was it you and I that was talking about this?
Yeah,
That this was like a Chinese op type deal?
Yeah, I wasn't able to confirm this. I
Okay.
saw something on Twitter. I know everything
I
on
was
Twitter
super
is true.
curious when
Yeah,
I heard
I really
that.
want to look into that.
There
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh,
So we have it right here.
This is the eagle.
Here
That-
it is.
So this is a mockery of The Dark Knight Rises, where there's a bat
Cringe.
there's a skyscrapers, and he's looking down, and there's like a bat in the buildings, and so they did this eagle, which many people pointed out is very similar to the Nazi eagle.
And he looks
with
like
the-
Vladimir Lenin in that picture.
Yeah.
and
what's going on?
And, like, you know, hey, maybe you guys, when people make memes to make fun of Joe Biden and then you just take them and repost them, you should probably look into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, was this
what you're
supposed
doing
to be
there.
endearing?
Check that.
They're just
Like,
illiterate to the internet.
This is like in your face. Like if history looks back and they're like, this is when the United States went full like totalitarian, and then you see that image and they're like, oh, they just blatantly told everyone he was gonna do it.
Well, I mean, but like Joe Biden doesn't even know this meme exists.
Yeah,
You
Joe's.
see the video of him trying to shake Chuck Schumer's hand twice?
Oh my gosh.
That was weird.
And the jacket.
Just held it there.
Yeah. Well, no, he shakes it. So here's what happened. Chuck Schumer talks,
forgot.
turns around, shakes Biden's hand. Biden puts his hand down and then looks and then pulls his hand out again and just stares at him and then like puts it to his face.
I can't imagine living in the fever dream that Biden experiences on a daily basis. They're like
Bad.
bringing BTS into the White House, and he's like, "Hi, who are you?" And they don't speak any English.
This.
What's BTS?
That Korean
Oh, that
pop.
K-pop
Oh,
band.
okay.
They're
What,
really
what does BTS mean?
It's a good question.
Bangtan Soyeon-don?
Is that what it means?
Does it?
I don't know. No
Behind
one
the
knows.
scenes?
I thought
Yeah,
it
that's what
was
I heard.
behind the scenes or something like that.
No idea.
No.
Bangtan boys?
You're right though on the fundraising piece. Do you remember last year when there was that video that came out attacking DeSantis because they didn't want him to get credit for how awesome Florida's doing? So they basically tried to showcase that Florida's this terrible place full of freedom, and it was like this lovely
Terrible place
video of all
So
these people
great.
smiling and laughing, and they're like, they don't take masks seriously, and it's this family
They
walking
look
on the beach.
so happy.
It's like, yeah, you guys don't realize, but you keep shooting yourself in the foot when you try to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump's done similar things, and Trump supporters have done similar things in terms of making targeted merch. But my point on the whole thing is like coming out and being like, we got away with it, now give us money. It's kind of like, people are already worried about a double standard and an imbalance in the justice system. Cackling while you raise money off of it is probably not going to help this country.
No.
But the funny thing is many of these Democrats think Donald Trump is the one who's committing all the crimes because they don't read the news.
Yep.
Dude, what is up with people are obsessed with the cult? Like but what I mean is the cult worship of the humans. Like this I'm all about politics and understanding the way government works and how many people you need to hire to be in the republic and to facilitate the transfer of power. But like when you get obsessed about the individuals and you're like, well, Joe Biden, some people talk about Joe Biden, then another person's like, yeah, but Trump, like that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. Like, let's focus on, and it's like it's a video game or like a movie and they're talking about their favorite characters or the villains they hate. Like it seems so detached from reality of like, you better get enough food for your kids, like, or for yourself. We got to really focus on making sure
Well,
we reach our basic necessities.
Yeah, the people who live in cities, for the most part, have no idea
No.
when it comes to basic necessities.
No.
I was arguing with a guy on Twitter once. It was really funny. He was a Yang supporter. And I was a big fan of Yang early on. I think he's done things I don't agree with, but he's all right. He's, whatever.
Oh, I love them.
But he was talking about UBI, and I was like, I agree with, like, he's created this huge, extensive policy list. He's really thought about it. I respect that. But UBI makes no sense. I asked some guy, we were arguing, and I can't remember exactly what the context was, why we brought it up. But I mentioned, like, eventually there's not going to be food in supermarkets. or eventually people won't be able to source things like milk if there's no one who's doing base level jobs, or we have to create a serf class. And he's like, what do you mean? The milk's at the store. And then I was like, yeah, but like the milk won't come from the production to the store, so people can't get it. And he's like, what are you talking about? People can just go to the store to get milk.
Oh,
and then I was like, the store won't have milk when the people that bottle it don't sell it to them. And he's like, I don't know what you're trying to say. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Did you guys see the video last week of the girl that's the farmer who was showcasing the bale of hay in her trunk? Did you guys see this?
No.
And she was talking about how much the price has skyrocketed of her hay that she has to get to feed her cattle that then produce the milk and the meat. And so she talks about how her hay is like quadrupled in the last 12 months. And her warning to everyone is this will be passed on to you this fall.
Of course.
Like if you think that this is isolated, wait till it hits the shopping centers and you see your price of beef and of milk skyrocket, because to feed these animals is becoming so incredibly expensive.
Even chickens.
Yeah, even chickens.
But here's the
Oh,
other
you
thing
guys
people
are
need to
there.
understand too.
Yeah.
We give these animals corn. Now there are a lot of farms. You come out here
Subsidized, yeah.
and we see the cows eating grass all day.
Yep.
You got the chickens, they're eating feed, they're eating layer, but they're eating bugs. But in a lot of places, it's just corn. The factory farmed salmon, corn. Yeah,
Interesting.
subsidized. Yeah, really gross.
I need to reclaim my name's heritage and
Yeah.
become
I
a
don't
corn
know if this
harvester
is
again.
true, but I heard that tilapia are fed in farms underneath these cages or like wire platforms that chickens are above them and like
crap into.
crap into the water, and then the tilapia eat it.
That's
I don't
And
think
that's like how they feed the tilapia.
I don't think that's possible.
That goes
because-
into grocery stores.
I hope not.
I don't think that's
Gross.
possible
That too.
because the chickens have one hole, a cloaca,
Yeah.
and there's like a hen has three things. They have like where the egg comes from, and they have like the poop and the peat, and it mixes together.
Yeah.
So you've got urea
So it
and other
would poison
stuff
the
in there.
water is
Yeah,
the reason they couldn't do it.
Yeah, the water would just become.
I hope
toxified.
it's not true. I don't
Yeah.
want it to be true.
I remember working in the restaurant industry for like 15 years, up until about 5 or 6 years ago, and they would talk a lot about farmed tilapia. It was way nasty. It was like one of the nastiest fish you could ever order from a restaurant is farm. You want wild tilapia if you're ever going to get tilapia. I don't know why, though. Maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe not.
You know what I'd prefer to believe? People who believe in these big conspiracies, like, I don't think there's a grand global cabal. I think there are powerful interests vying for power and colluding behind the scenes. So the Epstein stuff, Maxwell was convicted. Like, we know they were doing this stuff, and we know they were connected with powerful individuals. Maybe it was blackmail or whatever. But they clearly didn't have full control because Epstein is no longer alive and Maxwell is locked up. So it wasn't, I don't think that there's one like Illuminati or something like that. I just think powerful interests do this stuff. I'd prefer to believe that aliens controlled everything. If I'm gonna believe something, as grandiose, I'm gonna shoot for the stars.
They do.
Literally, and assume it's aliens.
Some people call them God. Other people call them aliens. Some people call them
Interdimensional
beings. Yes.
So when you mention JFK saying there's like a greater force at play, we're all imagining there's like some military-industrial complex, but it's actually a fifth dimensional DMT elf or something, a demon from beyond the veil.
Joe Rogan would fall out of his chair. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's more fun to believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
More fun. Yeah.
Well,
it's definitely true. Spirit war is no joke. What were you going to say?
Well, no, I was going to say, absolutely. I'm a big believer. I'm a person of faith. I believe that a lot of this is spiritual warfare. And it's interesting to see the people who have realized that over the past few years. I heard Tucker Carlson speak, of all people, and he was speaking actually at a church that I go to in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
And this guy's on stage, Tucker Carlson, largest talk show. This was like 3 months ago. Largest talk show host in the world. And this guy looks at this audience and says, I am thinking I'm insane in real time for even saying this. Because I, 2 years ago, never would have believed myself if I said what I'm about to say. Everything that we're seeing is that there's something deeper going on. Yes. There's something spiritual. I'm not sure what it is, but there's some deeper war at play here because this doesn't make sense anymore. Like all the basic fabrics of fabric of humanity is being ripped up. Things related to our identity, who are men, who are women, like basic things that we just accepted as truth for thousands of years. Now people are attacking. And so he basically said, I have come to believe that this is far greater than politics. This is way deeper. And so I do think there's like a cultural shift happening when we're all realizing that this goes a lot deeper than just party politics. It's not like a GOP versus Dem thing. There's a much deeper thing going on. Even in the political world, there's a uniparty. We clearly understand that now. And that uniparty often acts in the antithesis of the interests of average Americans. And you look at these things and you're like, there's something deeper happening here that's controlling you because this isn't this is so different than anything we've ever seen before.
Well, as a Christian, I'm sure you believe that the spiritual warfare aspect of it isn't new, and that's always
Absolutely.
been the case throughout human history. But why do you think it seems to be getting more intense, more noticeable in our daily lives?
I think that's it. It's that it's more blatant. It's more out in the open. And there was a time
Is
that
it like
was
an invitation for us to somehow participate?
My personal belief is yes. My personal belief is that anytime that you're confronted with evil, it's your duty to stand against
That's right.
it. Right.
So, is it Revelation or
Yep.
Revelations?
Yep.
Revelations.
Yeah,
Yep.
Revelation.
Book of Revelation.
End of days.
Yep.
Is that what's going on?
A lot of people have different views in terms of where we're at in history. I have no idea, but I will say that there is a very clear message communicated through the scriptures that as time goes on, things will become more blatant. In fact, there's a scripture that talks about how in the last days, everything's going to be uprooted related to identity. People will exchange truth for lies, and they'll listen to things that'll make their ears tickle and deny reality. And so it's like, who knows? But that seems like a lot.
But
where
also,
we're
it
at.
will come in like a thief in the night. Therefore,
Yeah, you
don't
really can't know the day or the hour.
Yeah.
I
So
guess like seasonal
both
things.
of you are Christian. So my question, I suppose, is it preferable that we are in the end of days and something is culminating as to your faith, or would it be preferable that life was just simple and normal and you were farming corn with a smile on your face?
Great question.
I think you can have both. Life is simple, and you can have normalcy, but also not be excited for the end times, but have hope. And not be so prideful as to think you know what the timing is.
Because I think about this in a more secular context, but also a religious context. And I'm imagining, are there people who are excited for Revelation, for the end of days, for the second coming, for the rapture, or whatever might be happening? And if you separate the faith element from that, are there people who think, in reality, we could choose to be happy, living on a farm and have pigs and chickens and food, but many of these people would prefer the chaos and the violence because they believe at the end of that violence is the utopia.
Yeah, the good news.
There are a lot of people who, I think at least, who want to make things worse as quickly and as intensely as possible so that it culminates in something. And I don't know what that will be.
Accelerationism.
Yeah.
But I think, the Bible's pretty clear about this. Like, there's the Apostle Paul that says that we should pray for peaceful and quiet lives. And yet his also message, and it's not a contradictory one, but his tethered message is, and also prepare for what's coming.
Yes.
So there's this tethered reality of like, pray for peace and quiet and do whatever you can to make that happen. Also, you
Buy
need to be
guns.
prepared.
Prepare for
Yes,
war.
because there
Yep.
will be a reality. The world is delving into chaos, and you want to be ready when that comes. And so I think it's that dichotomy.
A very literal example of that is that every 20, 30, 40,000 years, we get hit by comets and everything gets wiped to zero. And that's been happening over the last hundreds of thousands of years in the geological records of cometary impact. So yeah, you want to live in peace and love your
What is
neighbor.
the last record of that happening?
Well, I know 12,800 years ago at the end of the Younger Dryas, a comet shattered over North America and peppered the glacial continent, melted all the ice, and just caused a global flood, wiped out all the megafauna in North America, flattened the United States, which
Wait,
is why we
really?
have these planes. Yeah.
Maybe that's the Great Flood.
Yeah.
Then no, it was a few thousand years later. There was another flood, which they think was Noah's flood,
Lots
like
of
6,000
floods.
years ago.
Yeah.
That mythology goes cross cultures.
That's right.
Every
Yeah.
culture has like a flood, right? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
The Great Flood story.
Ooh, jeez.
But you are spot on. Like, there are these things that'll come that there's no ability to control. And no matter how powerful the cabal or multiple cabals are, like, even they will be taken off guard.
Yeah, I think when you were asking that question earlier about why does it seem like it's all coming to a head right now, the spiritual war, I find that it's always is, but now because of the introduction of psychedelics into the mainstream and the proliferation of the knowledge through the internet, people are sensing it. I can feel it. I was like a logic. If I can't see it and prove it, I don't believe it. That was me until I was 23 years old. Now I feel energy. I see patterns because of THC and the marijuana. Psilocybin. Just when you start to see the difference between life and non-life very starkly, and I mean, and you start to practice Reiki and things like that, or Reiki, I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's necessary to understand what's happening.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.